What's up, guys? Welcome back to Factual America. Today, we're diving into something that might just blow your mind. We're talking about how dollar stores are secretly stealing from you. Yeah, you heard that right. You might think you're getting a deal, but there's a whole lot more going on behind those low prices. So, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. All right, so let's start with just how many dollar stores are out there. I mean, these things are everywhere. In the United States alone, there are more than 30,000 dollar stores. That's more than McDonald's and Starbucks combined. They're popping up on every corner, and it's super easy to just walk in and grab something cheap. But have you ever wondered why there are so many of them? And how are they making money selling everything for just $1? Well, here's the deal. Dollar stores have become a massive part of the retail landscape. They're especially common in low-income areas where people are looking for bargains. And hey, who doesn't like a good deal, right? But there's a darker side to all of this. These stores are strategically placed to attract people who are trying to stretch their dollars. But in the end, they might actually be costing you more. So, you're probably thinking, how is that even possible? Stick around, because we're about to break it all down for you. From the quality of the products to the way these stores impact local economies, it's a lot more complicated than you might think. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to see dollar stores in a whole new light. Let's go. All right, let's talk numbers. We've already mentioned there are over 30,000 dollar stores in the U.S. That's a staggering number. But what's even more interesting is how they're spread out. These stores are strategically placed in areas where people are looking for bargains, often in rural and low-income urban areas. Why? Because these communities are underserved by larger retailers, making dollar stores the go-to option for everyday essentials. Now, you might be wondering, why is this a big deal? Well, let's break it down. When a dollar store moves into a neighborhood, it can have a massive impact on the local economy. First off, they often undercut prices of local mom-and-pop shops, which can drive these smaller businesses out of the market. And when local businesses close, it means fewer local jobs and less money circulating within the community. Basically, the profits from dollar stores often go to corporate headquarters far away, rather than staying within the community. And get this, dollar stores don't typically offer fresh produce or healthy food options. So, in areas where they dominate, people might have fewer choices for nutritious food. This can contribute to what's known as food deserts, where fresh, healthy food is hard to come by. So, while you think you're saving money on cheap snacks and household items, the long-term costs can be much higher in terms of community health and economic vitality. But it doesn't stop there. The presence of dollar stores can also affect property values. Studies have shown that areas with a high concentration of dollar stores can see a decline in property values over time. So, while you're saving a few bucks on a pack of batteries, the overall value of your neighborhood could be taking a hit. All right, we've covered a lot already, but there's still more to uncover. Up next, we're going to dive into the quality of the products you're buying from these stores. Are you really getting a good deal, or are you being ripped off? Now let's dig even deeper into the business practices of dollar stores. You might be surprised to learn that these stores have some pretty questionable tactics when it comes to how they operate. For starters, Many of the products you find in dollar stores are specifically made to be sold cheaply. That means they might be using lower quality materials or smaller quantities. Ever notice how some items at dollar stores seem to be smaller versions of what you'd find at a regular store? That's not a coincidence. It's all part of the strategy to make you think you're getting a great deal. But it doesn't stop there. Dollar stores often rely on a high turnover of inventory, which means they're constantly bringing in new products. This can sometimes lead to expired or near expired goods being sold on the shelves. And let's be real, nobody wants to buy expired food, right? Yet, it happens more often than you'd think. Now, let's talk about customer observations. Many shoppers have noticed that the quality of products at dollar stores can be hit or miss. You might find a great deal on one item, but the next thing you buy falls apart after a single use. It's a gamble every time you shop there. Plus, the store environment itself can be less than ideal. Crowded aisles, cluttered shelves, and long checkout lines are common complaints. All of this adds up to a shopping experience that can be frustrating and even a little sketchy. And here's something that might really shock you: deceptive pricing lawsuits. Yep, dollar stores have been hit with lawsuits for misleading pricing practices. For example, some stores have been accused of advertising items as being $1, when, in reality, they cost more. Or they might use tricky packaging to make it seem like you're getting more product than you actually are. These deceptive tactics can trick you into spending more money than you planned, all while thinking you're getting a bargain. One notable case involved a major dollar store chain that was sued for selling products at a higher price than what was advertised on the shelf. Customers would get to the register, only to find out that the item cost more than they thought. It's a classic bait and switch tactic that leaves shoppers feeling cheated. All right, let's keep this train rolling. Now, let's talk about the role of dollar stores in economically challenged communities. On the surface, it seems like dollar stores are a lifeline for people who are struggling to make ends meet. They offer low prices on everyday essentials, making it easier for families to stretch their budgets. But there's a flip side to this coin that we need to explore. In many economically challenged areas, dollar stores become the primary shopping destination because there simply aren't other options. Larger grocery stores and retailers might avoid these areas due to lower profit margins, leaving a vacuum that dollar stores are all too happy to fill. While this might seem like a good thing, it can actually trap communities in a cycle of poverty. With limited access to fresh, nutritious food and other essential services, residents are often left with no choice but to rely on these stores, which don't always have their best interests at heart. Now, let's dive into the effects of dollar stores on local development and businesses. When a dollar store opens up, it can be a death knell for local businesses. These smaller family-owned shops simply can't compete with the rock-bottom prices offered by dollar stores. As a result, they often end up closing their doors for good. This not only eliminates jobs, but also erodes the character and diversity of the local business landscape. Moreover, the presence of dollar stores can deter other types of businesses from setting up shop in the area. Why? Because the low-cost, low-quality model of dollar stores can create a perception that the neighborhood isn't a viable market for higher quality retailers. This can stifle local development and prevent the community from attracting businesses that could offer better jobs and services. All right, Now let's get into the exploitative nature of the dollar store business model. These stores thrive on a high-volume, low-margin strategy. They sell a massive quantity of goods at very low prices, which sounds great for consumers, right? But here's the catch. Many of these products are of such low quality that they need to be replaced frequently. This means you end up spending more in the long run because you have to keep buying the same items over and over again. Additionally, dollar stores often pay their employees low wages and offer minimal benefits. This contributes to a cycle of exploitation where workers are barely making enough to get by, let alone thrive. And because these stores are so prevalent in low-income areas, they often become one of the few employment options available, trapping workers in low-paying jobs with little opportunity for advancement. Now, let's talk about what's happening in Ohio. Ohio has actually taken some strong measures against dollar stores. The state has implemented laws that require these stores to be more transparent about their pricing and to ensure that the prices on the shelves match what's rung up at the register. Ohio authorities have conducted price audits and found that many dollar stores were not in compliance, leading to fines and other penalties. This kind of oversight is crucial for protecting consumers, but it also highlights just how widespread these issues are. Next up, we have the systematic understaffing of dollar stores. This is a big one, guys. Dollar stores often operate with a bare-bones staff to keep costs low. This understaffing can lead to a host of problems, from poorly stocked shelves to long checkout lines. But more importantly, it creates a stressful and unsafe work environment for employees. With fewer workers on the floor, it's harder to maintain store cleanliness and safety standards. And when employees are stretched too thin, customer service suffers, making the shopping experience less pleasant for everyone. Lastly, let's dive into the legal actions and fines against dollar stores. Over the years, several major dollar store chains have faced lawsuits and hefty fines for a variety of issues, from deceptive pricing to selling expired goods. These legal actions serve as a wake-up call, but they also show that these problems are deeply rooted in the business model of dollar stores. For example, one major chain was fined millions of dollars for overcharging customers and failing to adhere to pricing laws. These fines are meant to hold these corporations accountable, but they also highlight the need for consumers to stay vigilant. But here's the kicker. There's a huge disparity between the fines these stores face and the profits they rake in. While lawsuits and fines might seem like a big deal, they often amount to just a slap on the wrist for these massive corporations. For example, a multi-million-dollar fine might sound substantial, but when you consider that some of these chains make billions in annual revenue, it's just a drop in the bucket. This disparity highlights the need for more stringent regulations and higher penalties to truly hold these companies accountable. Which brings us to calls for corporate accountability. There's a growing movement demanding that dollar stores be held to higher standards. This includes everything from accurate pricing and better quality control to fair wages and safer working conditions for employees. Advocacy groups and concerned citizens are pushing for legislative changes that would enforce stricter compliance and ensure that these stores operate in a way that benefits, rather than exploits, the communities they serve. All right, let's wrap this up. So, what's the big takeaway here? While dollar stores might seem like a convenient and cost-effective option, the reality is much more complicated. From deceptive pricing and low-quality products to the broader economic impact on local communities, there are a lot of hidden costs that can add up over time. It's crucial for consumers to be informed and vigilant, and for lawmakers to take action to hold these corporations accountable. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.